Today, instead of turning up, a lot of people are turning down the volume. From female rappers asserting their dominance through sex to male rappers asserting theirs through violence, it's like every time a new rap song drops, we already know what it's gonna sound like. And not just in the beat or the music, but in the meaning or the lack of.
People are over with rap music and we all know why. This is one that I'm very intrigued to look at, especially being a music producer. I want to understand why people are actually getting a fatigue over rap music and how we can address it.
Cool music is so fried, dyed, and laid to the side, baby. We don't want to hear that no more. We don't want to hear how you can pop your cat, pop your cat. We don't want to hear that.
Rap is an art form. You are supposed to be saying something. When I hear y'all music, y'all don't be saying nothing.
Rap is cool and all, but it's getting outplayed, bro. It talk about hoes, money, killing. Bro, I don't want to hear that every day, bro.
I am tired of the ass shaking. Like, I'm tired of seeing that. Can we bring back real music videos
We actually reacted to this lady in like one of the previous videos.
with real creativity?
The song is called Kissing You. It's about wanting to be with somebody so bad that it's just like kissing you is more than enough. And she took that and made pop that.
I've been noticing something off about rap music lately. And I'm not a music critic, okay? We're not about to sit here and talk about mumble rap or flows. What we're getting into is way bigger than that. Because people used to turn up to rap. Not only because it sounded good, but because it felt good too. Well, today, instead of turning up, a lot of people are turning down the volume. From female rappers asserting their dominance through sex to male rappers asserting theirs through violence, it's like every time a new rap song drops, we already know what it's gonna sound like. And not just in the beat or the music, but in the meaning or the lack of. In today's video, we're going to look at how and why rap became predictable, performative, and empty, and also why so many people are tired of it. Welcome to the Girl Talk You Didn't Know You Needed. Now, I'm not saying you have to subscribe. You're classy. I know you don't just give those away for free, but hopefully at the end of this video, we become bestie enough for you to take that next step. But right before we break this down, I want to take a quick second to thank today's sponsor, Pair Eyewear. They make it so easy to switch up your whole style, just like this. And the top
Shout out to our sponsor, but we're gonna just quickly skip that.
entertainment, it was the start of a different type of revolution. And both men and women were shaping that. Rap started in places like Harlem and the South Bronx.
Before we even get deep into the video, yeah, I love these type of documentary style videos, man, because the amount of effort it takes to actually put into creating one of these, understand the history, putting all the clips together, editing it, etc. Like, it's mad commendable, man. So big up to her, man, for real.
In neighborhoods that were overlooked, underfunded, and almost forgotten.
This is Harlem, a place almost everybody has heard of, but where most outsiders have never been. Every urban problem that plagues this country is represented here, and you can find it all within a few blocks of this rooftop. Broken families, rampant street crime, the worst housing this side of Calcutta, alcoholism, street gangs, and the worst plague of all, drug addiction. But Harlem, even the pits of Harlem, is a story so much larger than just junk and junkies.
So in these places where people didn't have much, but they still had something to say,
And it's so crazy because I was literally there like last month or so. Literally, I was in like New York. I explored all of this. Obviously, it looks a bit different, but at the same time, it still looks similar. You know what I mean? It's mad.
rap became the voice that mainstream media never cared to give them.
This section of the city, not too many families can afford music lessons and things like that. Kids have no place to take music anymore. So in Bronx, what happened was that they figured out a new form of music that didn't take any music lessons, and that is...
You see, we're black people, man. Honestly speaking, we're actually some of the most creative people ever, man. Cause it's always through some sort of struggle or pain or something like that somehow we'll find a way. We'll find a way to find joy in it, find a way to create art out of it, find a way to, bring beauty to it. Do you know what I mean? Painting such a picture that people can hear and be like, yo, we really appreciate that. And it is a bit crazy because obviously people appreciate the culture and they appreciate the things that we have to give rather than actually appreciate us as individuals. It's wild, but it's the reality. But as a black person, obviously looking at this, I'm just like, bro, it's crazy. Look at these little youngins. Obviously, they're old now, but it's like, damn, man.
Using poetry and a rhythm.
Their lyrics were filled with a range of topics from race, social class, and politics. And what made it powerful was that it felt lived in.
I think it was Chuck D who said, it's the CNN of the Black community. It's actually reporting on all of these things that we've experienced in poetry form and musical form.
You had rappers like KRS-One or Ice Cube calling out systems.
Ice Cube.
Yes.
Sue from Illinois asked why people are picking on you. Why do they pick on black artists when, say, the heavy metal artists advocated all sorts of weird things anyway? Why do you think people are picking on you?
I'm a young black man with very strong views, and I'm not the only one that hold these views about the system.
And you also had women like MC Lyte and Queen Latifah speaking on respect, identity, and womanhood.
While we're familiar with Salt and Pepper, Roxanne, Shantae, and MC Lyte, there's a long list of ladies who helped set the foundation for others. The founding female MCs of hip-hop were investing their sweat and rhymes alongside their male counterparts to create a new subgenre within the culture.
And you weren't just hearing what they thought, but you were hearing what they'd been through. Now, as more ears were able to experience rap, that's when things started to change. Fast forward to the 90s, and rap had started to grow from a neighborhood sound to a cultural movement.
Within a few years, it had become an underground cultural movement.
And that's always the thing, man, because with any underground sound, it's always going to go from it being, you could say, quote unquote, underground into now people buying into it. And whenever they buy into it, what ends up happening? It ends up going, it gets watered down, etc. And if people can't buy into it, then guess what's going to end up happening as well? Usually, they do the Post Malone method, which is kind of sad, but it's just the reality. Say something like, for example, what I was talking about earlier, where I said that when you look at other races of people, for some reason, they appreciate our culture and what the culture has to give, but they don't appreciate the individuals within the culture. So let's say rock and roll, for example, is a black genre. So they said, you know what? Let's take away with the black people. Let's put in the Elvis Presley, for example. Same thing happened with jazz, with blues, with practically all the genres, you know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy, man. It's sad, man.
Movement. And its distribution was homemade.
You couldn't purchase albums or records, and you couldn't hear hip-hop on the radio. The only way that you could participate in the culture musically was through these cassette tapes, which would circulate all throughout the city.
As its influence deepened and broadened, the music spread from the underground onto the radio.
As rap got bigger, it got more commercial. The stories were still raw, they were still coming from the streets, but now the world was watching and adapting. This is also when artists like Lauryn Hill and Nas stepped onto the scene. Lauryn even won Album of the Year at the Grammys, which was unheard of at the time for a rapper.
And the Album of the Year is The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Shout out to Whitney Houston, man. Can't lie. But Lauryn Hill dropped a banger, let's be real. Of course, there's been a lot of controversies in regards to how the album was created, whether she stole things from different artists, whether she paid people and stuff like that. And it's sad to see. Comment down below if you guys want me to kind of go into that and obviously react to different things and kind of make my own, say, mini documentary in regards to that. But the album, imagine creating a piece and a body of work so amazing that that's all you need to release for your entire career. For the next foreseeable future, you can tour, you can do this, you can be revered as one of the best to ever do it off of one album, you know. She deserves her props, I can't lie.
Lauryn Hill. This is Lauryn Hill.
Amen. Wow, this is crazy because this is hip hop music, and you know what I mean? It's like,
and it's so crazy because another thing, side note, yeah, us man would watch the Grammys, and be like, bro, this is mad. Like, this is so far away. But now, for example, I could name at least like 7, I think 10 people within my media network that they've literally just been Grammy nominated, bro. It's like, life is mad, you know. This is a side note, but life is mad, like, bro.
You know,
Rappers were getting record deals. Music videos were hitting TV stations like MTV and BET. And labels started realizing there was real money in this. But with that kind of attention came an image. The industry started pushing what a rapper was supposed to look and sound like. And that's when things really started to shift, especially for women rappers.
She didn't look like a typical music star.
You look at TV and you like, okay, I don't see no big woman on this TV, you know, where the big girls at?
Yet Missy Elliott became one of the industry's most successful figures.
Artists like Missy Elliott came onto the scene and she pushed the boundaries without hypersexualizing herself. But a lot of artists were still trapped in that marketable look that labels knew would sell. The men were pushed to be flashier, more aggressive, controversial, even sometimes violent.
Everybody got to be a dope boy. You feel me? Everybody got to be everybody got to be a gangster, and everybody got to be hard. All I'm doing is being real.
The women were pushed to be more provocative, glamorous, and seductive. Lil' Kim may have cracked the door open, but by the late 2000s, Nicki Minaj kicked it down. She started turning sex appeal into a brand strategy. She became...
And that's that's the craziness of it, yeah, because now Nicki Minaj will basically be on the vibe of like how all these female rappers nowadays, all they're talking about is A, B, and C. But let's be real, like, when us when we were growing up and we saw Nicki Minaj, we were just like, I remember there was even some videos, for example, where you couldn't watch those when parents were around, you know what I mean, kind of vibe. So it's very ironic how things basically play out. But the reason as to why I'll still side with a Nicki Minaj over, again, the modern rappers that we have right now, right? No disrespect to them. It's simply because Nicki Minaj, I believe she was one of the last lady rappers to have some sort of substance to her music. So even though, yeah, she's talking about this and talking about that, but she'll give you some sort of substance. The music had range, it had depth, it had creativity, etc. And it's not only me saying this, it's even a lot of like, I think they call them Bobs, you know what I mean? The Nicki Minaj fan base. But a lot of people agree with it, you know what I mean? It's like every single time that they see something works, what they eventually do is that they take away all the bits that us man that are real music lovers like, and they keep on watering it down so that it becomes even bigger of an effect, because we understand in order for something to become popular, usually it has to follow the KISS principle. And what is the KISS principle? Keep it simple, stupid, you know what I mean? So it has to be so simple and so stupid that anyone can digest it. That's just in terms of marketing. But is it the right thing? No, it's not. You know, and music as it is right now is it's taking a toll as a result. You know, like people aren't really enjoying music as much as before. We aren't necessarily seeing artists have long careers anymore. We're seeing a lot of people, whenever they try to switch up and actually go a bit more conscious or a bit more substance or whatever it is, it's like it doesn't get the love that it deserves. Even, for example, this is one that personally, hopefully I don't get backlash if I do, it is what it is, isn't it? But this is one that personally upsets me, innit? A song like Kalani Folded, yeah, in my opinion, is the best song that we've had this year, especially from R&B, yeah? Best song. Argue with me in the comments, I don't even care. I'll fight that battle, yeah? But then I now look at, I remember I was banging the song, this audio, yeah, and just having the imagery of like, of love and, do you know what I mean? The old school 90s R&B type, do you know what I mean? Like, if you know, pre the video, and then obviously the beginning of it is amazing. Like, cool, you're going into the laundromat or whatever you call it, and then she's doing, next thing you know, she opens the door, and then all I'm seeing is sex again. I'm just thinking, oh, like, bro, my brain, me and my boy looked at each other like, oh, broski. You know what I mean? So from the point that even, bro, let me know then. I'm just gonna say it, bro. It's like, fam, I thought as if though everyone's tired, man. We don't want to be seeing all that type of stuff. And now when it comes to the man them as well, I hold men way more accountable because obviously I'm a man as well. It's like, bro, every other song talking about killings and selling this and doing, like, bro, I get onto the man them every day. Go on my TikTok, I get onto them every day. Like, bro, what else can we talk about, bro? Like, you know what I mean? It's jarring.
The blueprint that a lot of female artists seem like they have to follow today.
Although Nicki's lyrics could get as raunchy as any female rapper, she kind of pioneered sexual raunch on a record in service of her, as opposed to servicing others. I think if you go back and listen to Lil' Kim's raunchy work and her presentation of sex on record, Kim mostly positions herself as a object and a receiver of sexual desire by her male fans and male peers. But Nicki was like, no, you all are here to please me and are here for my pleasure. Which
accurate take. Amazing accurate take. Can't lie.
Was transgressive at the time.
So it wasn't just about the music anymore. It was.
And then without Nicki, that's why it's so ironic. Without Nicki, you wouldn't have these lot right now. Do you know what I mean? So
the full package. Labels wanted songs that could chart, but rappers had to be more than just rappers. They had to sell the whole image. You had to have the big chains, the big butts. And suddenly it wasn't just about what you were saying, it was about how you looked saying it. And that was the turning point because labels started figuring out what could sell. So over time, rap stopped feeling like a testimony and started to become a product to sell.
I think a lot of it has to do with the rap game. I think rap music kind of like sold out the culture in a whole. A lot of rappers would be mad at me for saying this, but I don't care. The time I start hearing rappers tell me, yo, I don't rap for the sake of the culture. I don't rap for the art. Man, I rap for the dollars. That's, to me, a bad state to be in.
Today,
and all the people that us man look up to, let's be real, when we're in interviews, or not in interview, we're watching their interviews and things like that, those are exact words that they will say. Like, bro, they're doing it for a paycheck, they're doing it for the bag, they're doing it to get out of the hood and stuff like that, which is amazing because it means that, okay, you're not going to be doing a mad thing, but if it comes at the detriment of, you know, the entire culture and you're selling out the culture and obviously fitting into certain stereotypes and stuff like that, it's crazy. Do you know what I mean? It's even to a point where, again, when you're looking at, let's say in the UK, right, black people are, if I'm not mistaken, around 3%, right? If you look in America, if I'm not mistaken, it's around that 3 to 4% or whatever. Regardless, minorities, right? In saying that, and again, don't butcher me if the numbers aren't necessarily accurate. The point still stands, right? With us being a minority, when other cultures and other people basically see us, the only way they're seeing us is basically through, again, music videos like this. They're only seeing us through movies. They're only seeing us through what social media portrays. So, and that 9 times out of 10, if it's for the ladies, it's gonna be sex. You know what I mean? It's gonna do something around that. Or like, for example, the Nicki Minaj message where it's like, okay, cool, strong, empowered, but it's usually through, again, sex, right? And it's so crazy because when you look at our ladies, there's so much more than that. Do you know what I mean? Like, but let's not get into that anyways. Then when it comes to the man them, again, all it comes to is just aggression, drugs, along those lines, you know what I mean? So it's crazy. So that's the reason why you'll get someone like myself walking down the road and all of a sudden becoming a trackie. I'm now getting white ladies like, oh, do you know what I mean? Like, moving mad. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And 9 times out of 10, not all of us are like that at the end of the day. Yes, you got a lot of people that obviously resemble that and replicate the stereotype. You have to take accountability, but not everyone is like that. Not everyone. And when I say not everyone, I'm talking about people think it's like 9 out of 10 black people are these type of ways. I actually don't believe it's the case. I'll say it's like maybe like 6 out of 10 depending on the area you're at. But in those areas as well, you're also going to get, you know, people that are far removed from the culture completely. You're also going to get people that can be in the middle. I would say I'm more towards in the middle. I resonate with the culture a lot. Do you know what I mean? Grew up around it, everything like that. But at the same time, you then got people that are in the culture fully, but are negative. Then you got obviously the rest, you know what I mean? So depending on where you're at, depends on obviously what you see and what gets demonstrated to you, right? So it's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy, man. But I really like this documentary, man. I can't lie.
Rap is still one of the most popular genres of music, but when you really stop and listen, you start to question why. Now,
Do you get it? And even just the point I was basically making as well is like, if that's the only experience that these people get, it's no wonder as to why, again, all these narratives are pushed and things like that. And then you look in history and then you now start looking into, you know, the political things that were done against the community and stuff like that. Because it's not necessarily that these people are, I want to say these people, I'm saying melanated people are violent or this and that. It's because that's the perception given. Whenever you give people a perception, then everyone's going to follow that narrative. You can, for example, go over to a country that never ever sees black people and they're automatically going to think that you're you're one of these guys, you know what I mean? Not knowing that these guys are very niche, you know what I mean? It's not everyone that basically resembles that. So, yeah. And those stereotypes at the end of the day is a human thing. It's not good, but it's a human thing. Because when you now look at other cultures, for example, I'm not going to mention stereotypes, you know what I mean? But I don't believe in them. But if you look at everyone, some people are going to say, okay, white people do certain things. Some people are going to feel like Chinese people do certain things. Asian people do certain things. When I say Asian, I'm talking like Indian, etc. You know? So these stereotypes are there, but what I don't agree with is the fact that every single stereotype has to always be negative whenever it comes to our people, you know?
the sound and the blueprint of rap have mainly stayed the same over the years. Men rap about money, power, and women. Women rap about confidence, womanhood, and sexiness. But as the years go on and the tracks continue to be produced, the message starts to get a little repetitive.
Everybody trying to rap the same style with the, I don't know who created it, if it was Future or Migos, but all them sound the same.
You're making it because you're in the studio like, what's the #1 record right now? We need to make another one of those. Stop doing that! Stop! You're not original! Give me some original
Do you know what it is though, yeah? When back then, right? 'Cause I really researched and I watched interviews and stuff like that, yeah. Back then, it was a case where artists and bands, etc., will look at what other people are doing and be like, you know what, these guys were able to make a hit out of this, etc., and they would take inspiration from it, and then we'll be like, you know what, we need to do way better. We need to come with our own magic, our own source, our own formula, and do way better. What we do now is that we look at the charts, we look at Spotify, we look at all these playlists or whatever's going on popping and be like, let me copy and paste that, but then just tweak it a tiny bit, I got me a hit. And that's the reason why music has basically been destroyed, you know what I mean? And it's such a shame to see. It's actually just a shame.
Song will drop and it's about getting money, just like the last 20. Another verse about taking someone's girl or sleeping with another woman's man, maybe having the nicest clothes or body in the room.
Like every single sentence is about booty, having leaking, flipping, twerking, and hunching. I mean, can we get real rap? Can we get real bars?
Everyone's tired. Everyone's tired, man. And the thing with social media is that the minorities tend to be the loudest. So let's say, for example, out of 100%, right, you got 80% of people agree that, okay, music right now is a bit boring, but hearing the same thing, etc. You then got the other lot, which is the 10 to 20% that, like, their job is literally being on socials all the time, making noise. You know, the empty barrels always make the loudest noise. That's what they always say, right? They're the type of people to push these narratives of, oh no, everything's lit and everything's okay, and go on Queen or go on, they don't even call the man them king. It's just crazy, but go on nigga. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. But it's mad, bro. It's mad. And I don't necessarily see it changing, but the reason as to why I'm still in the music game is because I want to be part of that change. You know, we can do businesses and, you know, help people with their businesses and generate cash flow and figure out different ways, especially entertainers as well, because we need that, right? But the music, man, this is what drives us. Like I can't remember a day that I've gone without listening to music, for example. Do you know what I mean? So I would like to be a part of that change that we see. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but hopefully it happens ASAP, man. Car, we're tired of these narratives, bro. We're tired. Do you get it? But my people, them, I'm gonna leave the link down below. In the description, make sure to like it, boost an algorithm. Comment down below whether you agree, disagree with anything I've said, and make sure to follow because we upload daily on this channel. I'll see you guys in the tomorrow's video.